This is the perpetual average, sometimes called the moving average or the weighted average. This is the perpetual average from the FileMaker Pro user's perspective. I need to do a little bit of setup here. The first thing I need to do is take a look at the data set. We're using this as a data set, purchases on the left, sales on the right, and then it's set down here in a transaction style with the purchases and the sales and the beginning inventory all set in chronological order. I'm going to move this off screen, but that's the data set that I'm using. I have to do a little bit of setup here. The first thing I need to do is on the item table, we're working with this SKU 70904. The thing that's a little bit different on the average, on the perpetual average, is once we get the average, as we move through, as we receive purchases, the average cost is going to change, and we can store that in the item table. But as we start, the average cost is going to be $3.20. So I had that at a different average based on previous testing. So I have that. So that's set now. That's the beginning inventory cost that we saw in the data set. I'm going to leave this open so we could see that change. The other thing I need to do is let's take a look at our item valuation. Here's my item valuation table. I don't have any records in here. I need the beginning inventory, so that's pretty important. I need a new record here with a count of 800, and that cost is $3.20, and we saw that here at the item table. And the ending inventory value is $25.60. This is my beginning inventory. And my T account, this is a debit. My date, we're doing this, I better, oh, it's going to depend on my sales order. Let me take a look here. I need to take a look at, the first thing we do is a sales order. I need to bring that up. The orders, let's see, I need to fill out a little bit more information on this, but let me put this aside for the moment. I also need to take a look at the purchase orders and the sales orders. These order tables are built, these layouts are built upon the same table. So I'll open those up, both based on the order table. And let's see, so I have purchase order here. What I want to do is just see the POs. And I have 4 purchase orders, that's good. And then the sales orders, I'm in the sales order layout. So let's take a look at just the sales order, 6 of those. And I really just need to see this. There's a trigger on this ordered field. So there's an onObject save trigger, and in order to get the script to move, all I need to do is change the number with the number itself. And we'll see that as time goes on. Oh yeah, but the first thing I wanted to do was see what the date is on here. So the date is 5, so we'll say that we're in the month of May, and that means on my beginning inventory, I will presume that we're working on a monthly period based on May 1st. So I'll set that at May 1st. That's what I wanted to know. I don't have an item ID. Let me grab that real quick. It's not on the layout. I can get it from the data viewer pretty quickly. Okay, and these others are not important for our purposes. Okay, so but this is important that you start out for this. Again, this data set is all for testing. This is a testing set that we had from Professor Aldridge, and we saw in his video how he did it manually. It's the same data set that's used in the spreadsheet. And so now we're going to see the same data set in FileMaker Pro and how it flows. And so in order for that to happen, we need to have this set up correctly. This looks correct. There's only one record here, so that's good. And what I want to see, let's see, I want to see that item valuation user interface. The user interface is cramped. There are far too many fields, columns in here, and I would put some of these, if I had this in production, I would hide some of these in a popover. But for right now, it's very handy in our testing to have access to these numbers, even if just the beginning of those numbers, so we could see how that works. I don't need that header there, and I don't need this. This is looking pretty crowded here. I can get rid of that. One more thing, transactions. I want to take a look and see what I have in the transactions table. I do have some data in here. When I start testing, I don't need any of this data, so I'm just going to clear that out. And for our purposes, we are going to create transactions. I'm not really concerned with the transactions for this process, so I'm not going to take a look at that table. I don't need that table up. Okay, this is the main table I'm interested in. I'm also interested in this item table and how this value changes. You have to make sure not to lock that record. Now I'm in the sales order over here and the purchase order. Okay, with that, we are ready to get started. A little bit tight on space here. Our first activity is a sale. And so I create a sale. Again, I just replace a 0 with a 0, and I tab out of that field. That sets the trigger. And here we could see that it added a sale. This is a little bit different than the Perpetual LIFO and Perpetual FIFO in that we didn't get another line, an adjustment line. There's really no adjustment. There's no average to calculate. It can take a look at this average over here in the item table, and it saw that the cost was at $3.20, so it grabbed that. And it makes sense. There's just the beginning inventory. There's nothing to average. It's already been averaged. The 2560 divided by 800 is 320. And so that's what we have here. Let's move on. We have our next purchase, our first purchase of 2200. So I'll get that to trigger. So we have that first purchase. That's going to change the average cost. Oh, I'm sorry. We had that purchase at that cost, $3.10, and that will change our average cost. We could take that change and we can store that in the item record, which it did right here. Now when we have our next sale, it will grab that $3.11. Our next sale is 1600. Which we have there, $3.11. Then we have a purchase of 1200. 1200 at $3.30. That's going to alter our average. That changed average is now stored in the item table, and we will draw that now from, what do we have? We have two more sales, one with 1,000. We have 1,000, and that pulled that $3.22 from the item table. Nothing has changed. We don't have a new purchase, so that item cost is the same for our next sale. We have another sale of $400, so that should be the same cost, and it is. After that sale, we have a purchase of $1,800, and that is going to change our average cost. Oh, shucks. It did change our average cost, but I did that wrong because I was a little bit too quick. I needed to put a 0 in there, so that's going to alter it. Okay, so this is good. Let's take this out of the equation. Our last one, I can delete that, and I have to make sure to set this back at $3.22. Now I can run that. At this point, I just need to add that purchase. So that purchase was at $3.40, and that changed our cost to $3.36. Then after, let's see, where are we? After that 1,800, we have a sale of 1,400. And then after the sale of 1,400, we have a purchase of 500. And then a sale of 200. So you see, we don't have any average adjustment like we had a FIFO adjustment or a LIFO adjustment. We don't have an adjustment line, and we can utilize the cost field on the item to keep track of the most recent average cost.